All right, I'm here with my boy Chad. I appreciate you coming on the podcast tonight. It's been a long time, buddy.
Yeah. I'm excited to be on the podcast. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
I think we're going to enjoy talking about some sports.
for sure, for sure. So our first topic tonight, we're going to talk about Lufkin football.
Okay.
You know, one thing that I will say, I think from the last few years compared to where it is now, I think Coach Absek is heading in the right direction. I think he's changing some culture.
Yeah.
Um, to I hate to bear bad news, but I think the last regime, as much respect that I had for him, I feel like it kind of became dead and stagnant. Uh, I guess the question I would ask is, what do you see in terms of? Do you think he's headed in the right direction?
I think so. I think there was a culture change that was absolutely needed. Um, I think that what he's doing is he's trying to build it from the ground up.
For sure.
I don't know everything, within inside the walls of Lufkin High School, but I do think that he is kind of instilling a one mindset amongst the team, and I think given time, I think that he can do good things.
Well, and you made a great point. So, in terms of culture, I mean, you played a lot of sports over the years.
Yeah.
Culture is a big problem, a thing about football. It doesn't matter whatever sport it is. It's a big part of who you are. And the thing I liked about him, and even if you disagree, is he first came in. He says we're going to do it this way. We're going to change up the practices. We're going to change up things. You even changed up the went back to the old school colors with the purple and gold,
Yeah.
where it's totally different because we were really kind of going towards purple and black.
Yeah.
Really wasn't necessarily school colors, but I don't know. I think that's a good thing. For me, just as a fan, I think when you talk about changing culture, it's really just you have to come and do your own thing. Uh, anyways, yeah, I think that's a big thing. You know, uh, like when you think of John Outlaw, right? All the years he had a lot of success. Quick came in. He kind of did the same thing for a long time. He wanted to breed that culture, but I think at the end of the day, you really have to change things, and then when you come in. So I
Well,
think
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, like culture is great, but if you don't feed into that culture and keep it alive, there's no point in having it. It's
right,
redundant. You're just doing what your predecessors did just because that's what you know. You have to evolve at some point. That doesn't mean that you forget the roots from which you came, but um, if you don't evolve, you die.
absolutely. You made a good point. Evolve. So really, I made a point in my last podcast specifically about the spread. They ran the same offense for 20 years, and
Yeah,
yeah, it was really. I mean, truly, it was successful. People could say what they want. They were averaging 40 plus a game for
I agree
15,
with that.
15, 20 years. But you go from an RPO, I mean, from a spread, which probably for the majority probably ran 10, 15 plays, which is fine. But now you go to RPO offense, which is just, you're talking about 50 to 100. It's totally different. Uh,
Oh yeah, I mean, even the variation of the spread that we ran, it was it was at the forefront of spread offenses at that point in time.
right.
But once again, just as culture, same as offense. If you don't evolve, you die.
Absolutely.
So it got to a point where we were it was a successful offense, but it turned into a extremely predictable offense,
Gotcha.
and it kind of cost us. But at the same time, in that stretch, I can remember scoring 70 points and losing a game.
Right.
So it's like, at defense, you have to play complementary football. If you don't play
Absolutely.
complementary football, then it's pointless.
Absolutely. Well, one thing you brought up is about you have to evolve. So,
Yes.
one thing I was going to talk, we were going to talk about is college football. You
Okay.
know, one thing that I remember specifically in the early years of Nick Saban at Alabama is they really ran a pro set. They ran a lot of things out of the eye. It was just power football. And then they got some butt whippings by Clemson. And he realized, at least to me, he realized, hey, we've got to do something different. We've got to run some RPOs. We've got to change. We got to evolve. And he had the athletes, but Clemson for the majority of those 3 or 4 years, they were really the top dog. So in terms of college football, where do you think like how has it evolved? Do you think that just in terms of culture has that changed? Do you think that plays a part in the NIL?
Um, excuse me. I think in terms of the NIL, I think all the NIL has done was brought paying players in college to the forefront.
Right.
You won't convince me for a second that Nick Saban wasn't paying players
Absolutely.
at Alabama. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, yeah, it's. I think college football is way more wide open now, right? I think there's true parity now, and I think it's because of the NIL. Um, there's things I like about it. There's things I don't like about it. I like that the players get paid,
Right.
right? Um, but I don't like the shift that it's made in terms of, hey, we're going to do this playoff, but we're going to put these teams in, and that's fine. And then it's like, oh no, never mind. That's not good. We need to do more teams, but these teams, maybe not. So I'm talking about the group of five,
Right.
and the group of five. I feel like if they win their conference, and now I think it's if you win your conference, I think they only take the top four, and then after that, it doesn't matter now, basically.
Yeah, you at least
But
get some kind of seeding.
you know that with that, they are not going to be like, oh, yeah, if USF wins out, we're going to put them in there.
Right.
They're not going to do that.
Mm.
They're going to find a 3-loss SEC team to replace them, even though for them, they play good football. That's why I'm saying um, if you don't want them there, make it known. Don't pretend that you want them there because that's what they're doing.
Right.
They're like, yeah, we don't want to split this.
Participation,
Yeah,
kind of.
we don't want to split this up,
Right.
right? It's the SEC, it's the Big Ten, Big 12, ACC. Yeah, I mean, right? But you know
Right.
what? Forget these guys. But also, oh, no, never mind. Come back type
Right.
thing.
Right.
I think that's ridiculous because if you don't want them there, get rid of it and just create your own league.
This let's go back to your first point about the NIL. I agree. I think that when you talk about playing players, I think it should. They're their own brand, basically. I mean, we all knew Vince Young and Reggie Bush were getting paid in those days, which is fine because, I mean, people can hate on this, especially the older generation. No offense, they're going to say, "Why are they getting paid? They're getting paid college." But at the end of the day, they're getting in front of hundreds of thousands of people. They're getting
Yep,
scrutinized the same way as pro athletes are,
of course.
and so for me, and one play could take away their career, and it may be up to the coaching staff.
Yeah, for sure. And think about this too. Here's something that NIL has done. And it may seem that some people don't like NIL or whatever, but think about this. Due to NIL, SMU and Louisville are running the ACC right now.
Right.
Think about that.
Right.
right? So look at Vanderbilt, what they're doing. This is a direct result from teams that had a small voice, but they had big pockets that nobody knew about.
Right.
And now they can play with the big dogs. I mean, the Texas win over Vanderbilt, some people be like, oh yeah, the nonchalant fan. Texas beat Vanderbilt. Of course they did. That Vanderbilt team
It's
is
good.
good.
Yeah.
They're really good up front. They're physical. They're fast. Right. Diego Pavia he's a
Stud.
great
He's a
quarterback.
stud.
And then you go out at tight end, which was a former quarterback for the Aggies, Eli Stowers, and that guy is just catching everything, right? So I think NILs it has a place.
Right.
I think people need to accept it, and I think it's quite personally. I think it's why Nick Saban retired.
I agree, and I think you're seeing that with Dabo Sweeney at Clemson. It caught up to him.
He's failing.
He is, and I think you're seeing that. So the only conceptuation, I guess you would say, or only problem I have with the NIL is
Yeah.
the fact that they switch every year, every 5 seconds, and that drives me nuts. And to me, it should be a contract where you have to stay for 2 years. And that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but because you're really you're putting strain on colleges
Yeah.
because they invest all this money in the boosters,
Yeah.
and then they go to some podunk school, Colorado, whatever. Even though Deion Sanders is there, whatever. They're still a podunk school. Let's be real. They're not a. I mean,
They're not a blue blood for
right.
sure. But at one point in the 90s,
Oh, they were good,
they were really good.
especially '91. I think didn't they win the national
Yeah.
championship with
I don't remember it.
Cordell Rod
Cordell Stewart.
Stewart.
Um, I don't remember exactly. I do know that they won a championship in the 90s. I can't remember off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, sorry. But yeah, man, whenever you whenever you take a step back and you look at what NIL is doing, it's kind of a lawless land right now. But if they can rein that in, I think it's a good thing because you were saying, oh, if you go somewhere, you have to stay there for 2 years or do this or do
Right,
that. Well, that was implemented before. So
right,
it's kind of revisionist history, right?
right.
Hindsight is apparently not always.
2020.
Yeah.
Right.
So you just stop and you think about it. I think if it's going to continue um, at the way that it's going, I
Mm.
think you're going to end up with an MLB situation on your hands.
Where it's just all money.
It's money loopholes. You can spin, and then finally you win something.
Right.
Type thing. Which I mean, if boosters and alumni, if that's something that they want to do, more power to you.
Well, you think back to the scandal of the SMU
Of course, the
specifically,
Pony
the
Express.
Pony Express, Craig James, Eric
Yeah.
Dickerson. If you've seen
What a backfill, by the way.
I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But that was a great documentary. If you didn't get a chance to
Oh, I
see it,
watched it. Don't worry.
it was great. Really enjoyed that. But let's go back to college football.
Okay.
Looking at some of the top teams, who do you feel like this year, when you look at going forward? I know we're not completely done with the season, but right now, if you look at the top 25, let's specifically just look at maybe the top 15 and pick maybe three or four, even five teams that you really say, hey, these are some of the teams you want to look at. I'll say this personally. I think Ohio State's good, but what concerns me is they haven't really played anybody. I think the Big Ten, in some ways, is down. People can say what they want. Penn State was not as good win as people wanted to make it out to be. I think Indiana's playing really well.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Of course, Alabama and Georgia are going to be there, but a team that really has impressed me has been Texas Tech. Plays really good, especially if they get that quarterback back, uh, and as well as Notre Dame isn't playing bad football. Uh, I don't know if they're a top five team, but I think they're playing well. And Ole Miss, and I know I've said probably too many teams, but Ole Miss is not a bad football team.
Uh, in terms of Ole Miss, man, being an Aggie fan myself, um, Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin, um, that is a quality team every season.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is about that guy. He's got swagger.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing,
Right.
right? And he just puts teams together that know how to score. But the thing about them is they know how to score, and whenever they can't score, they know how to play defense.
Yeah.
And that's extremely important. That's what I feel like is what makes Texas A&M this season uh, like a true contender because they can win games in all types of different ways.
Ugly, pretty. That's one thing that I will say, in my opinion, and I'm not just telling you from in front of you because I know you're an Aggie fan and I'm a
Yeah,
diehard Longhorn, but I will say this, in my opinion, A&M's probably the most complete team in college football, at least
they
to me.
they've looked really good
Yeah.
and they've looked really bad
Right.
at times,
But
but they've won.
exactly.
So when you put that together, that's something that A&M hasn't done.
Right.
So whenever they beat Auburn, I think what was it 10-6 or 16-10. I don't remember off the top
Right.
of my head. It was an atrocious looking game from a visual standpoint. But to be able to realize Marcel Reed, Craver, Amari Daniel, all those people, whenever you sit there and you realize they're not going to be able to do it, so you have Torian York out there. You have that defensive front, which is Cassius Howell. You know, they're out there and they make a difference. And whenever the offense can't score, they're making sure that the other team doesn't get in the end zone. They're trading field goals or they're trading touchdowns for field goals,
Right.
which you want to have happen.
Absolutely.
3 is much better than 6 or 7.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm I'm kind of reluctant to be all in on A&M just because I
We know the
understand battered
history.
Aggie
Yeah.
syndrome.
Yeah.
But whenever I watch them, man, there's just something different about them, and I think that difference is Mike Elko.
Right. Well, speaking of, you kind of hit on the MLB earlier.
No,
You talked about like money and how the MLB has that cash cow. You know, let's look at question. Why do you think the Dodgers continue winning? They've won back-to-back World Series championships. They won a few years back as well. They're usually probably either in the NLCS or in the World Series every year. Why is that?
um, I think it's pretty simple actually. They're star-studded. I mean, who is a better athlete in professional sports than Shohei Otani?
No, really, to be honest, nobody. And what's
No,
crazy to me, I hate to be this way. It's just being honest. If he's so good, but there's not a lot of talk about him because he's not. I mean, he doesn't speak English. I mean, to be honest, he's not. I mean, in terms of him, yeah, he's definitely the best player
oh,
in MLB,
he's amazing.
and he may be the best player at the level of any NFL, whatever you want to, whatever basketball. He's the one because I've never seen a guy be able to pitch as well as he does and hit the ball and have the discipline and the ability to not to block out the noise and still produce the way he does.
it's kind of this is going to be dumb, but it reminds me. My dad always used to talk about Earl Campbell,
Yeah.
right? Because my dad was a huge Oilers fan, and that
Okay.
was my introduction to football. Um, we would sit there, and I would watch Earl Campbell play, and I remember my dad always said, "He's so fast, he makes other fast people look not fast." That's what Otani does.
Right.
That guy is just different.
Yeah.
Um, I think no matter what team that he is on, I think that he makes that team a contender based on himself alone. But let's not act like the Dodgers aren't a spool of riches.
Right.
They have everybody that anybody could want.
So going back to the point we talked about initially about why they win,
Yeah.
right? You, the richest of players. So one thing that I notice is they're not only they have all this talent, but they're deep, especially at the pitching level.
Of
I mean,
course.
they're deepest. They're the deep. Unfortunately, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I know you dog me about it all the time.
Yeah, that's all good. We
But
can't all be perfect.
27 World Series championships.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyways,
How many of those were before the color TV? All right. I figure you didn't want to talk about that. Well,
okay.
hey, we'll move on.
Anyways,
Hey, bang the can. Let's go, Stros.
uh, yeah. But in terms of the Dodgers, so you made a point. You think they continue to win not only because they're a good organization, but also the money.
Of
So
course.
I do think that money buys wins. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, it does.
But at the same time, I think you have to have the GMs and the right guys to make decisions because as a Yankee fan, I mean, just being honest, we're the richest franchise in the MLB, close second to the Dodgers, and we haven't won a World Series since '09. And so my only point is you have to have the guys in place. You have to have an organization that
Yeah.
knows how to pick prospects and guys that are going to fit into the system. Because as much as when I first, I'll say this: when the Dodgers really came on in the mid 2000s to the last 10, 15 years, I didn't really like Dave Roberts. I don't know what it was about him. The dude drives me nuts. He just kind of chill and just does his thing. And I was like, man, this guy, anybody can coach that team, but he seems to find a way to put it together every year.
I, and see, I'm gonna go the opposite direction
Okay.
of you on Dave Roberts. I think I think Dave Roberts is a beneficiary of everything that LA has to offer.
Okay.
And not to pour salt in the wound, but a lot of the reason that your Yankees haven't won is because it's been at the hand of my Astros. So, um, moving forward from that, Dave Roberts, I don't think he's a great tacticianer of just baseball knowledge. Um, he's made some questionable calls, especially against the Astros. He's made some decisions that were just like, what are you doing? Right? And they cost him. But now they're not costing him. So you have to ask the question, why is it not costing him now?
Right.
Maybe he decided to get out of his own way
Right.
and follow through on maybe what the Dodgers had envisioned. And maybe he doesn't think that he is the end all be all to that. But overall, I mean, everybody can hate on the Dodgers,
Mm-hmm.
but as long as you are um, navigating within the rules of Major League Baseball, you
Yeah.
can't you can't chastise them for
Right.
it. They put together a team that looks like if they really wanted to, they could win
multiple.
2, 3, 4 straight if they really want
Absolutely.
to.
Unfortunately, as a Yankees fan, I hate to see it. Really, they drive me nuts. They're really good. So, last question of the night, man. I was just going to ask you the Chiefs. Let's go with
Uh,
that one. The Kansas City Chiefs. Is it the end of their dynasty? I know they're not playing very well right now. I believe they're just above 500. Uh, the last couple of years, we've seen them kind of waver. Now, I will say this: I don't think it's necessarily been Mahomes. I think some of it has to do with the offensive line. I also think the defense is not as good as it was. But tell me what you think about the Chiefs. You think it's kind of in? Do you think Taylor Swift is making it?
oh man, I think if we're being honest, I think they should put Taylor Swift in the slot. Um, the way she navigates men in her life, she should be wide open on the football field. If we're being honest, but no, um, Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. I think
Absolutely.
Travis Kelsey is getting old.
Right.
I think I'm not going to say that his mind isn't focused on football, but there's a lot of things that took place in his life this year or over the last 2 years
Right.
that we all know as men can affect your focus
Well,
100%.
and I think to my point is when you win as much as they have in the last 5 to 7 years, you can dog them. They won a lot. And so at some point, as much as people want to say winning cures everything, sometimes you get a little stagnant and you get a little complacent.
I think if you look at it, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen swap places. So, like, Josh Allen used to do absolutely everything for his team, and he's still doing that, right?
Right.
But the difference is Patrick Mahomes used to just ball out all the time, but he also had a really good defense,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So they didn't have to score 45. They would because that offense was really good, but there's key pieces from that offense that are gone
Tyreek
now.
Hill. Yeah. Some of
That are
those.
gone now,
Yeah. Edwards
and or
Alaire.
suspended and
Right.
stuff like that. But um man, I don't I have a hard time saying it's over because you literally have a generational quarterback. You have a
Absolutely.
guy that is, I mean, pretty much the Joe Montana is there.
Absolutely.
Really.
I
So
agree with that.
I have a hard time saying that it's over, but I do see it getting more tough on them, and that's simply because the NFL is evolving.
Yeah.
And it all ties back into that evolving thing we've talked about this whole time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You got to evolve or you die.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Chad, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
I
man, I
appreciate the
enjoyed
call
it.
coming on the podcast, and appreciate you. Appreciate you. Hopefully, have on next time, and appreciate you listening to the Fans from the Stand podcast. Y'all have a good night.